You recorded?
Yeah.
If you go to Liberia and you want to stay in Africa, drink pepper soup, drink pepper soup. And if you like the culture and you want to stay in Liberia, drink pepper soup, drink pepper soup. Especially if you like to eat Liberian food so sweet, whatever they. If you go to Liberia and you want to stay in Africa, drink pepper soup, drink pepper soup. And if you like the culture and you want to stay in Liberia, drink pepper soup,
Is that streaming?
drink pepper soup. Especially if you like to eat Liberian food so sweet, whatever they put in the soup, oh, it's the truth. Oh, yeah. You can lie down, you can sit down, you can lie down, you tie right there. You can't get away. I say, what's the name of this soup?
Pepper soup.
And it's tasting good.
Pepper soup.
Once you take a taste,
Pepper soup.
you can't leave the place.
Pepper soup.
Once you drink that pepper soup, you can't get away. In Liberia, you got to stay. Fire! I hear you talking Liberia when foreigners come over here and drink pepper soup, drink pepper soup. If that's how them spell them, and have them singing this song, drink pepper soup, drink pepper soup. They don't want to go home at all when they eat swine with bitter ball. Boonie, kuta aka, oh oh, it's pepper, oh oh, eh. You can sit down, you can lie down, you can turn round, you tie right there. You can't get away. I say, what's the name of this soup? Man, it's tasting good. Once you take a taste, you can't leave the place. Once you drink that pepper soup, you can't get away. In Liberia, you got to stay. Oh, yeah. I heard of this Yankee man. He went to the motherland and drink pepper soup. He drank pepper soup. He couldn't understand why he couldn't leave the land because of pepper soup. Drink pepper soup. It's the first time he gets so much mixture. Crayfish, crab, and barracuda. All kind of dry fish. They call swat. Oh, it's pepper. Oh, eh. He couldn't sit down, he couldn't lie down, he couldn't turn round. He tie right there. He couldn't get away. I say, what's the name of this soup?
I was trying to enjoy the song. I see how DJs can be like enjoying their own song.
Yeah, the whole party be sitting down, the DJ just dancing.
Yeah. Okay, well, yeah, Miss Lavetta. Yeah, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. How do you say it?
Good evening.
And of course, you know,
Ladies
today is
and
someone's
gentlemen.
birthday.
Happy birthday, Claudia.
Everybody.
Happy birthday. Thank you for starting our month.
Yep.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank
We
you,
be
thank you.
first.
The only thing I want to say
Yes.
about your month, that year, nah. The last 6 months were a mess. We big here.
Yeah, they need
All
to
kinds
try
of
to
people
time.
to us.
Bring good tidings.
We pray. We finish praying. We ready.
We pray that August.
Yeah, y'all bring something better for the next 6 months, please.
Jesus Christ. So, of course, we're going to do a toast.
I love it.
And to Miss Claude. So everybody make sure you grab a glass of something. You know, I'm drinking water. Lies.
You can toast with water.
But good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. We have Miss Charlene, we have Claude, and our guest host. We have Miss Rabina. I don't know what is she doing. She looking like a 1960s school teacher tonight.
Nurse
With the
Betty.
class.
That's right.
And we have Miss Lavetta.
Thursday.
Keep us tonight, huh, Rabina?
Oh yes.
Ha 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 ha. So
Gotta
before we
start
get
right.
started, you know, of course, Liberia is still going through this COVID third wave. So we want to extend our prayers to everyone who is currently battling COVID, to the families of those who've lost people to COVID. And for all of us here who are trying to stay safe, continue to wear your mask, continue to wash your hands, wash your distance, and make sure you get vaccinated. And also, Liberia, speaking of COVID, Liberia lost a giant. I would say, you know, Mr. Ambassador John Gwese. He apparently died sometime last night. Overnight, as I was told. And Ambassador Gwese was a businessman. He actually owned the Gwese Resort in Marshall, and he has several other businesses. But I had the pleasure of meeting him. He was one of the first people that I met when I first came to Liberia. And I always tell people there's a difference between people who are nice and people who are kind. And he was one of those people who was extremely kind to me. He looked out for me. And it's so funny because when I returned from the States, he called me. So I called him back, and I hadn't spoken with him in such a long time. This was probably about 3 or 4 weeks ago. How long have I been back? Yeah. And, you know, extended his condolences regarding my dad and my uncle. And we talked for a little bit, and I just told him, I said, oh, you know, I will come to look for you. And of course, you know, we tend to do that a lot. You know, the intention was really to go and see him, but, you know, kind of got busy. But, you know, condolences to his family. And he was really, I mean, I can't say enough, he was really a kind person. He was kind to me. And through him, I met so many other people. So, but Ambassador Gwese, I call him John. We had another nickname. We used to call each other, but John, you know, you will be missed. So with that said, this week, apparently in Liberia, has been jumping. It looked like every week for the past couple of weeks, been jumping in Liberia. all kinds of activity. So we'll go through the hot topics, and of course, we want to have a discussion. The discussion usually comes towards the end of the hot topic, where we will talk about during a separation, whether it's through a divorce or it's just a breakup, and there's a child or children involved, who decides, and I always put that in quote, who decides who gets to see the children. I know all of us here have stories. Either maybe we've been through it, or we have somebody close to us who been through this co-parenting situation. So we want to kind of talk about it. So yeah, so welcome. See some new folks in our regular who are here saying hi. Thanks everybody for taking time this Sunday evening to join us. Y'all make sure tonight that Claude birthday. So towards the end, we're gonna toast. So y'all make sure you grab a glass of water like me.
You can't toast with what? Don't toast with water. I won't accept you. Toasting with water is bad luck. You can toast with water.
Okay.
Yes, so.
So y'all make sure y'all get a little alcohol.
They have a lot of things that are clear. Don't listen to them. Oh, wow.
Oh yeah, make sure you get something. We are coming to you from on 3 different continents. So Liberia, of course, UK and the US. The people in America, they in like 2 or 3 different time zones. So to get started, one of the first topic that actually came up this week was the big, what do they call it, the big robbery house.
Big Brabby, Liberia.
Yeah. And this is a reality show that apparently airs on social media. That's where I usually see it. And they gather these young people who technically supposed to be like strangers. They're not really, they're not related in the house. And they stay in this house for a certain number of time. I'm familiar with the Big Brother house. So I'm not sure if that's the same thing that happens.
Yeah, similar.
So they go through different challenges, obstacles, games. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Well, during this time in the house, video, because they're recorded 24/7. There's cameras like everywhere in the house. Well, 2 of the castmates on this video appear a guy and a girl in the same bed. The girl is sleeping. She's knocked out. I'm gonna be biased. I looked at that girl. That girl was sleeping. That girl was knocked out. Her eyes wasn't popping. She was sleeping. But you can see the guy like spooning her. He's in the back of her, and the cover is over him, but he's moving his hands as if it's in his pants. You can't see it because the covers are over him, over both of them, but his hands are moving, and it appears as if he's doing one of 2 things. He's either masturbating or he's touching her. He's groping her or something. That's what it appears to be. Maybe there's another explanation for it. Well, the tape apparently got out, and after it got out, then I think police got involved and they arrested him. They removed him from the house. They arrested him, but I understand that they let him go. His name is Gary. We'll go ahead and out there.
He's a blogger, so he's really popular.
Yeah. So Gary. So the conversation this week was really, was he really touching her? Was he masturbating? If you're masturbating, is this sexual assault? Then of course there was the sons of Adam who were on the girl's case, that she was pretending to be sleeping, and she should have known. I hate that thing when people always blaming woman for something. Yeah, that she was pretending to be sleeping, and she wanted it. I mean, some of the comments I was reading on Facebook, I was just like disturbed. I'm like, wow. From my understanding, the young lady hasn't said anything yet. Haven't heard anything from her. I know her family's been talking, but her family and friends, but she hasn't said anything. In my opinion, I am a 40-some-year-old woman. I know when somebody is groping someone. I know, you're groping. And I always feel like anything that is unwanted is criminal, is borderline criminal. If I didn't consent to something, it's unwanted. That's how I look at it. She was sleeping. The girl was sleeping. Okay.
And it's not borderline criminal, it's criminal.
Well, yeah. So yeah, y'all weigh in.
The first thing with other countries and their big brother, I think the rooms are divided. So they have the girls on one side and the boys on one side. And as they get acquainted with each other, they decide if they want to couple up or not. So with all the latest gists from today and social media about her writing him, and I think during the week I also saw a video where he stated that the girl had told him that she sleeps like she's dead. She doesn't feel anything. I think on his part, he knew, and it was intentional for him to get in her bed, knowing fully well that she wouldn't be able to remember what happened. And fortunately, there was a camera in the house. Had it been a different situation, she would have gotten completely assaulted without nobody knowing about it. So I think it was calculated, highly calculated.
Yeah, now they let him go. I'm trying to think. I don't remember what he was actually he wasn't charged, but what they were looking.
He wasn't charged. He was arrested because, quite honestly, because of the noise. That's why he was arrested. He wasn't charged with anything. So he was there for a few hours and released. But in my opinion, it's as clear as day. Obviously, it was inappropriate, regardless of what happened underneath the sheets. It was inappropriate, right? But we're going to hold this young man accountable for what he did. Well, we also need to hold the Big Brother Liberia accountable for what happened as well, because they have cameras and it's on 24/7. And there's also people that are monitoring these cameras. They're also monitoring the contestants or the candidates in the house. So if they saw this happen, why would they allow it to get to that point that the next morning we'll have to watch it and then it blows out of proportion, right? So if they saw this, like the very beginning of it should have been enough for somebody to cut the camera, go in there and tell him, this is absolutely wrong, you cannot do it. But they allow it for a good 4 or 5 minutes, however long it was, to happen. And then the next day, there's this uproar. So why wasn't there an uproar that very night when it was happening? Somebody should have stopped it.
Okay.
And then the young lady too, if the young lady, for me, she hasn't said anything. So there's a bunch of people making all this noise. And because there's all this noise happening and because she has no voice in it, it almost seems as if she's not offended by it. So sometimes it's difficult to come out and speak when these things happen to you, but you got to fight for yourself as well as people fighting for you.
Yeah, now let me say this about maybe not speaking out. Usually people who are assaulted, whether it's like rape or some kind of a sexual assault, a lot of times victims don't speak up. And victims speak up.
And I agree with you on that, but this assault is public. It was public.
It doesn't matter.
It's on video.
But
so
that's the thing.
Absolutely nothing. There's nothing to hide from. Everybody knows that it happened.
No, but it's not so much everybody knows that it's happened. This girl was sleeping. Okay. People who have gotten raped on tape, they don't come out and they talk about it. To talk about an assault, to talk about, a lot of times it's embarrassing. The backlash that she hasn't even said anything yet. And some of the backlash, some of the things I was reading about this, people putting out there about her. This girl hasn't said anything. She was sleeping. Honestly, she doesn't know what happened. She's looking at the tape, and in her defense, she could be like, you know, did he really do that to me? Was he really touching me? Was he ready? But my issue is not with her.
No, it's not with her.
Yeah, it's not with her.
obviously.
If she's not comfortable talking about it, that's okay. It's okay. I wanted to read a comment on here from Tashmir A. Sharif. He said, ladies, let me be fair for once. I am strongly against rape, and I'm also not in support of Gary, but am convinced that she was kind of aware of all of the touches and she did nothing to shut him off. Now, here's the same blame that I was talking about. You know, the girl wears the skirt. The guys sees the skirt and, oh, but why did she wear the short skirt? And she knew it was going to be a lot of guys there. Why did she wear that short skirt? Or she knew he was touching her. How do we know that? This girl was sleeping. Yeah, you watch the thing, you can tell when somebody is faking sleep because you cannot control your eye movement. The guy also came out and said that she's a hard sleeper. There's some of us who sleep, they horn can be blowing when I yay. And again, under the sheet, he may not have taken her clothes down and finger her, excuse me, that we talking adult talk here. But he might have been groping her, or he might been, he probably was playing with himself. Either way, it's very, very inappropriate. It's sexual assault because
he should not have been in the bed with her in the first place.
And that's the thing that we need to understand. Consent. If I don't consent to something, if I sleep and I pretend to sleep and you're touching me, I consent to it. You don't make the assumption that it's okay with me. You don't do it. Go ahead, guys.
There needs to be an investigation.
The police said it finished for us.
No.
The police said that he was masturbating and he was
So
even if he was masturbating, it
Now,
was
the
still
thing with
inappropriate. You should not be
you see, the
masturbating
thing
in
is
a bed with a young lady that's sleeping.
As if somebody wants somebody to be
Yes.
masturbating on you.
And
issue
Big
with
Robbie
Big
needs to
Robbie
be
is-
responsible for this. They need to do an investigation.
My
It
issue
really
with the
needs to do.
organizers,
Yes.
from the get-go of this
Yes.
competition, they said House of Drama. Now, the first thing is the kind of people that they get for the House of Drama, the focus is just completely different. It's either about something sexual that they relate to as being dramatic. You know, it has always been that way. People trying to date other people trying to sleep with other people in the house. That's what they consider drama. I can bet there's no policy, there's no MOU, there's no consent or anything that was signed before these people went to the house to be a part of that competition. And that is crucial.
Yeah.
When you have people exposed to the public at that rate, you should make sure that they are fully aware. If possible, have an in-house lawyer that will explain to them what it is, and then have your own policies and principles on what you can tolerate on live TV and what you cannot tolerate. It doesn't mean because it is 18 plus, so everything just go off, as they do.
I agree with Glade. Glade, you're right. There should have been policies put in place because things happen. And here we are, something happened and it was on camera. So where does this responsibility lie? One, Big Robbie, where are they? Have anybody made a statement? Is anybody pushing investigation because something happened? No. So yeah, there should have been.
That's true. From the show.
Yeah, so there you go. There you go.
Lavetta?
Unfortunately, there is something else that's gonna go, and nothing will be done. Maybe there'll be another voice.
Okay, I was saying,
I'll be back.
am I okay now?
Yeah.
Okay, so I haven't seen this show. I'm not a fan of reality TV and all those different things. But for all that I've heard, I mean, there's whole, I don't know how to call it, assault or masturbation, whatever it has been, whatever nomenclature it has been given out there, drew my attention to the show. So I decided to pay some attention to it. The first thing I said was, why was he in the girl's bed? Why did he leave his bed, or do they always sleep together? You know, that was my first question. The second thing is, in a society that we are trying to build, a society where we have maybe 75% of our young people do not even know the right or the wrong thing to do. They are just doing whatever. And we are all trying to take this country to another level, trying to rebrand our youth, trying to raise them or teach them, you know, how to be leaders and whatnot. And all we can think about is having a reality show. Well, all I've heard about from last year, I think last year was the first one. All I heard last year was, oh, this other person loving to this person. Oh, this other person was kissing this person. I think that all I heard last year. And then this year comes a kiss. I don't know if it's a kiss, but an accusation or whatever it is. You know, so I was like, first of all, we need to decide as a country, when we talk about rebuilding this country, we shouldn't just look at the presidency or those elected officials. We should look at everything that's going to happen in every sector that will help this country move forward. I'm not saying that I'm against the show, but I'm just saying that there are a lot of other things that we can get our young people involved into that will help them intellectually, that will help them become great leaders, become great parents and whatnot. But that whole reality thing with, and all you get from that, every time I listen to the reality is somebody loving to somebody, or somebody was kissing the person in the corner, or somebody was doing this. Maybe they're having other stuff that they are doing that I don't know of. But you know, I'm just saying it is about time that we get involved into other things than just the whole sex thing on the so-called reality TV.
Let me chime in real quick. You kept talking about country, how this country needs to find other things for our youth and all of that. But it kept hitting me that this whole incident, it's kind of telling us a little bit about, not a little bit of, or a lot about our country. Because if we can sit there, if a reality show can sit there and allow this young lady to be molested, sexually assaulted, harassed, whatever the case may be, it tells a lot about our society. And then when it becomes glaring to society, then we turn around, we say, oh, the girl, she was not sleeping, she invited this inappropriate action, or whatever the case may be. It tells a lot about our country as a nation. It tells a lot about how women are treated. I'm not,
It
you know,
does. No, it does. And that's why if you rather listen to me, I did not rather talk about the girl or the guy. I was just talking about the whole thing. You know?
No, I totally agree. You kept saying like,
so I agree with you.
So it just
I agree with you. I agree with you.
Nation.
This is why I mentioned that every sector need to be involved in transforming this country. You know, they sat there, the monitors of the camera sat and saw this guy the first time. When I watched the video, I saw him the first time when his hands off, something moved. Then you just go to him and say, get up the bed. But they allowed this video to even stay on social media for a couple of days. And I'm sure some village
it's still there.
that. Oh, of course. And even if it's not there, it's going somewhere because it was forwarded all over. You know, so this is what I'm talking about. If we're looking at grooming leaders or playing our roles in this society to help them, we want to compare ourselves with Nigeria. Nigeria gone far. And when you listen or watch, for all I heard, because I was listening to some people, or sometimes on social media, you hear people talking about the BBN. I think those people in the house, I don't know a lot about them, but I think Nigeria gone far in terms of their development. They have their own issue politically, socially, economically, but they're gone far. They are not talking about rebuilding. We are talking about rebuilding. And then at our initial stage, we have a reality TV show that all we talk about is sex. The guy was wrong. That's the first thing. He shouldn't have left his bed to come to the get bed. That alone tells you that this is what I'm going for. He was wrong. No matter where they put it, how they put it, he was wrong. You know, that's the first thing. It's like you're in your house. I'm sitting here tonight, and somebody jump over my fence and tell me, say, oh, I just came to speak to you, or I was just, seeing if you were sleeping. I can do anything to him. First thing, he's wrong by entering my fence.
Well,
Without my
let me say
permission.
this, regarding I'm familiar with Big Brother House. I am a huge fan of Big Brother House, and this is where the show actually comes from. And in the Big Brother House, the housemates, they do sleep in each other beds. Girls sleep in the bed. You get a bond with someone, and a lot of times it's not sexual. You get a bond with someone, and you get close to them. And the reason why I asked initially, do they do like obstacle courses? Because in a lot of the Big Brother House that I'm familiar with, the friendship that you develop is really like a partnership to get to the final, to win, because you go through a lot of games. There's a lot of obstacle courses that you go through. So they develop these friendships to be able to compete with other people and eliminate other people. I don't know if this is the same line of games. That's how the Liberian Big Brother is set up. But honestly, it wasn't shocking to me to see the girl and the guy in the bed. I don't think they were split up there. It wasn't shocking to me to see that. But my biggest thing is always, I think sometimes we need to understand the level of consent. That word, consent, consent, consent. Consent is not about assumption. If you see somebody running naked, it doesn't mean that they're saying, you know what, come and sleep with me. And because our society does not understand that, we tend to play in this thing where it's like, oh, the clothes that she had on, she looked like she wanted it. She ain't say no, so she ain't say no, so therefore, she wanted it. But I think sometimes we need to the word consent, and it goes back also to what Robina pointed out. The show itself, all of this outcry, they haven't even come out to say, you know what, we're not sure what happened, but this is what we're doing to address the situation. We didn't have a
I mean, as Salamartu, I think at the end of the day, we just have to, try to make sure that the show involves the contestants in understanding what the policies are and what will be expected of and what the
people ain't got no policy.
That's all, yeah.
Right, you're right, Letty, and we can push for that to happen.
That we can push for,
right.
The explanation. We just have to somebody from there people understand exactly what they are going into.
Right. I know Boko is on here, and I know he's one of I think the house manager. So they need to put something in place, and that's what we need to keep saying.
Yeah, Boko, please come out and make a statement, please. And
I wanted to
tell us your step.
Some of the other statement. I don't know if you guys are following. Letting the tape play open can play open.
Let's move to a new topic.
Oh, yeah, women, we read it here. Why are you stuff here? No, what happened? Yeah, man.
Today her birthday, she got it ready today.
I need to go.
She won't go sleep because she was partying all weekend, and I don't know. Yeah, she was up here. Yeah, man. They show that sexual assault in the
she wants sleep already.
Yeah, she wants sleep. She's tired. Someone, is there a gender ministry in the country? It's kind of Lafetta. Yes. Why did he get in the? Are you guys reading the comments too?
Yeah, we're reading them.
Oh, okay.
I'm reading them.
No, I haven't. I'm not reading yet. Let me see. What are comments?
So, no, there were just some questions. Like the same thing. Why was he in the bed with her? Someone is asking, is there a gender ministry in the country? Okay. Next. So now, of course, the next thing that happened, last weekend was our Independence Day. Was celebrating. While we were celebrating, our president was in the studio and he was recording a song. A song dropped. It was a tribute to Rita. And of course, then the question became, who is Rita? Knowing that the president let you make a business, and I know that Rita Marley's birthday, I'm like, it can be. There's no way this man made a song for Rita Marley. Yeah, but he did. He made a song for Rita Marley. So y'all heard the song?
Yeah, I heard the song.
Where else
did.
you
I heard it.
heard?
I personally
Yes.
think the president has done better songs. This is not one of my favorites. I think it's I don't know. I don't know if it's a sign of less business or what, but I don't see how our president is singing all of these songs. Don't get me wrong. There's a couple of songs that come on, the president's songs that come on, and I love them. And y'all see me dancing, and I know the words to every single one. But maybe the sophomore album can be as good as the first
It
album.
sounded,
right?
you know what? It
But I
sounded
like
like
the second. I like the other song. Yeah, the other one. Yeah, I like more.
it sounded like he has a personal relationship with her, and he was just expressing, you know, we all got our way of singing. I look at it that way. So
So what are you trying to imply? What kind of personal relationship?
no, I mean he could be friends. I mean,
Joking.
yeah, man.
What you trying to say? The president Jew?
No.
Yeah? Are the president
Oh
sunshine?
no. Is my lawyer on, please?
Oh, you call him a lawyer?
Yeah, you got it
Let
ready.
me,
But you know what? I
let me say something. Let me,
I think one of the issues, 1 second, Retta, wasn't so much the song. I think right now the timing, everything that's happening in Liberia, it seemed to be
Yeah.
timing.
Yeah.
You know, we're going through COVID 2016, and I think someone even referenced it was like, oh, Jetty is feeding people and the president making song. With that, all I gotta say is that, oh, so you're not forget about the whole plane that came. Tell the president, let him sing. Go ahead,
You
Lavetta.
forgot about what that came?
It came with a
Plane that
vaccine.
allegedly, the whole plane that came with the people that apparently tested
Oh.
positive, allegedly. We not forget about
Oh
it.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
No, I just think
go
it was
ahead,
the
Yeah.
timing is wrong, and honestly, no, it's not even the
Yeah.
timing, because quite honestly, the presidency should not. That's not what we have brought our presidency to this man that's going to be in the studio singing songs. There's nothing wrong with having your extracurricular activities. Fine. The moment it becomes public, it becomes a problem. There should be other things that our president is focused on than releasing latest hits. Bottom line.
Trying to find a song.
okay, can I come in now?
Yeah.
Go ahead,
Sure.
All right, so just as you all said, the timing, you know, there are a lot of things going on in the country right now. First, we have the vessel that capsized. I don't know, somebody needs to correct me whether the president has said anything
No.
as it relates to those
yeah.
people who haven't been found. And I'm saying who haven't been found instead of using those people who died, because it is not established yet whether they have given up on the search. So we still haven't heard from the president. I know the Maritime Commission spoke about it. I know the Chief of Staff spoke about it. I know the Ministry of Education spoke about it. But it means a whole lot when the president of a nation speaks about the lives of his citizens, you know, and since then, the first thing we hear from him is a song that does not resonate in the Liberian society, but goes as far as Jamaica. You know, so I mean, no one's
Racist.
stopping the president, no one's stopping the president from singing. It's just a matter of what are you singing. Every song should have a message. What is the message in that song? He could easily call Rita Marley and say happy birthday, you know, than to release a whole song on us during this period when people are still, I tell you, a lot of family members are still mourning on the vessel. Even those that survived, they are still looking forward to the government coming to them and telling them something, giving them some assistance. You know, because they lost properties, some of them might have some, because I don't even know if they were properly examined after they were formed. You know, so these are things that you need to look at as a leader, and don't just be fast to say something that would be inappropriate. The song I don't think that it's what Liberian need right now. Maybe a visit to Jamaica and do the song just because first, even the Jamaican listen to the song. The song has no message except happy birthday. You know, except happy birthday. I was just thinking about it yesterday and said, so that's it. As it was saying, like the whole vessel thing and in cheer. You don't hear anything about it. You don't hear how many persons
No,
lost their lives.
in the president's defense, he did mention it in his statement to the nation, because I actually sat down and listened to that whole thing. So he mentioned it. Yeah, he said,
Had a statement to the nation.
yeah, on 26th day, there was an online program.
Sorry, I didn't listen.
He didn't, yeah.
Oh, okay. We didn't know on this
Yeah.
side.
So yeah, so
Okay.
Well, I didn't
he
listen.
extended his condolences, and yeah, but all that other thing about making sure they pay the people, maybe, you know, maybe reimburse, examine, I don't think any of that happening. So I think everybody in my jail leader won't go listen to the song. I was trying to find a song and play a little bit for us to jam to it.
No, let's make progress. Let's go to the next topic.
Let's find a better
Let's go to-
song. That one of my favorite songs.
I let it song, man.
Let's
I know,
Let's
right?
go to the next topic.
Exactly.
Next
So
topic.
you come and be pushing us here with next topic. We'll talk about the
Must be fun and song.
We need a
You know
juicy
what?
topic
We'll
to
play
have.
the
you
this
know.
song,
Yeah,
Bina.
Just a little bit
yeah.
of the song. Let you a little bit of the
They hear the song. Why you want to hear the song? It's not your president
That's
song.
all here for.
Huh? I got it. Do yeah, man.
Thank you, darling.
You're welcome.
Look at
But they
Shani
play
here.
the song and I call their birthday.
Yeah.
My
When
name
she
is
said-
Marita.
Yeah, the-
Yeah, buddy.
One low.
Internet jacked up. Can't even hear it.
Radio generator, eh?
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
They said one love.
Yeah, and you know, it's so funny. I tell people talking about, oh, the people are listening to us. So because I listened to that song so much today, because I listened to it so much when it came out, when I played my playlist, the first song that came on was Rita Marley. I'm like, yeah, with Citro, yeah. But I mean, I just
Can I
think
say something?
the time, you can go ahead and then we'll talk about the Minister of Health recent interview.
So quickly, and this is totally unserious. When there's a young lady that smokes a lot of weed, they refer to that young lady as Rita Marley. By the time you come and say, hey, Rita Marley, come here again. So they may making whole song for the queen of marijuana smoking.
Well, there's so much we can say, but I see some of our aunties on here reminding us that our auntie, our money on here. So
Yeah, so it's
we're gonna let that, we're gonna let that, I will let the other comment, the comment I wanted to make, I'll let it slide.
yeah, let it go.
Sorry, yeah. Too much.
So of course, our Minister of Health, Dr. Wilhelmina Njala, did an interview. It was yesterday, or day before yesterday, on Spoon TV.
Last night.
Yeah, she actually gave an interview to the newspaper about a week ago, but she went on Spoon TV and she did this this interview. And the two main topic of this interview was what happened to the money that was collected from the COVID test. For those of you who don't know, we take a COVID test when you're leaving the country. It's $75. When you're coming into the country,
Who doesn't know?
then people don't know, ma. Then people don't travel.
That's when you're going.
Yeah, people don't travel. When you're leaving, and if you're leaving and going to an ECOWAS country, it's $50 if you have an ECOWAS passport.
Yeah, please make that very clear.
Yeah.
Difference.
So yeah, but the bottom line is you're paying when you're going out and when you're coming back, regardless of having a COVID test result less than 72 hours, you have to take another test and you have to pay for it. So they've been collecting money, and I don't think so much, people were concerned about the money per se, as they were concerned about the procedures and receiving the results. Because I know when I came back in February, I'm still waiting for my COVID test result. When I came back in June, I'm still waiting for my COVID test result. When I came in February, I actually paid
Yeah.
a credit card before I came in. When I got to the airport, they told me they didn't want to know, they don't see it. And I've been at the airport where they did it to a couple of other people, where they claimed they never saw the credit card. So I think a lot of people's concern was that, okay, you're collecting this money, but you're not doing the job that you said you're supposed to do. So there were cries out initially for this to be privatized. So one, people wanted to know how much was collected, which she claimed it was about $4 million from December of last year to June of this year. And then the conversation kind of just took, most of the question was focused around the money, you know, with us, that money, we want to know what our money coming from. And then, of
Accountability.
course, the other question with her was the whole returning Dylan money and having, knowing exactly like the numbers, the stats as to what was happening in Liberia, which she had no idea what was going on. So the first thing she said, it was 4 million collected between December to June. And when you break it down, it comes to about $600,000, over $600,000 a month. And they asked her, okay, so what is this money used for? Oh, it's used to pay bills that were accumulated before December of last year, hotel bills. Then she went and she said, oh, you know, we were audited. She did the report and she submitted a report and they've been audited. So they asked us, can we get a copy of the audit report? She said, well, the audit is still ongoing. It really hasn't been done. She actually submitted a report. She submitted this report. Who did you submit the report to? Who can see it? Can we see it? Well, I think she told one of the guys, she said, well, you come to Liberia, I can show it to you.
Yeah.
All right, yeah.
You know,
So there's no audit report. The audit is actually happening now by GAC. The report was actually given to the president and the Minister of Finance. And there was another committee that she stated that it was given to. So we're still waiting for the support. But I mean, it's just,
no answers. There are no answers.
Can I say something? And I honestly, I don't even think we need to waste a whole lot of time on this, because I think the minister, and no offense to her, but I think she went on Spoon TV not prepared, because every question that was asked, it was like this run around thing. She spoke about the $4 million. Then when they tried to get her to break it down, she said, oh, if I knew y'all were gonna ask me the kind of question, I'm gonna bring the whole book to give you the details. But you know, this is the topic of everything when it comes to this whole COVID response. It's about the money and how it's being spent. So regardless if you come in to sit down to talk to Charlene or you're going on Spoon TV, you have to be prepared with the breakdown, with numbers, with all of those things. So quite honestly, I personally did not get anything out of that conversation with the minister.
First of all, she said that she was head of this committee. And as the head of the committee, apparently she's not getting the information that she's supposed to be getting on a daily basis.
But that was another problem.
That's not true.
Even
that's not true. I know that.
Go ahead. What do you know?
No. The IMS, number one, the IMS, there's a meeting that happened every freaking morning on the IMS. They just don't talk about the health. They just don't talk about health. They talk about non-health issue. So this is not the first time she's hearing about this money. People have been questioning about this money before the 6 months was over. When we pay $5, we want to know what the $5 going to.
Exactly.
So I don't even think it was so much she was unprepared. I think she came on with the intention of not wanting to. It's like I have no obligation to answer any of these questions.
Then don't come on. Then don't speak.
No, but
I always feel that
it's very frustrating. That interview, I even refused to watch it because it was frustrating. I mean, she wasn't, you know what? She should have just stayed for herself and not even showed up, because you got nothing from it. Absolutely nothing. It was a waste of time.
I always feel that
um,
people kind of become arrogant when they are inexperienced
Mm.
with certain tasks that they have been asked to do, or they have hijacked, whatever the case is. The first thing with the COVID response, she is completely inexperienced dealing with disaster management when it comes to communicable diseases or epidemics or sorts. That's what NPIL was made.
health and safety, health and
So
safety.
any answer that she gave is because she's completely inexperienced of how such systems is supposed to work, and she has little or no knowledge on how financial systems work. And obviously, there has been no honest accountability of all the monies that have been, accumulated. So she cannot give an answer. So the best thing she could do was either become arrogant or become cheeky, and that's just what she did.
Yeah.
So we should try looking now to see if we can ever get any answer. I don't think we're going to get any answer in the future or
I agree
anytime
with you,
soon,
Letty. Zero,
because
nothing.
she does not know
Yeah.
what to say. There has been nothing honest about any kind of calculations, and that's why you can say it. Because as the head of the IMS, right? This is the powerhouse of an ongoing crisis. You have meetings, you have group chats, you have telephone conversations from so many supervisors and leaders in different parts of the country on a daily basis. So even if you do not prepare for any kind of interview or interaction, your lay knowledge of the daily activity that you have been abreasted on in the morning would be sufficient enough. You cannot be not sure of whether there was an audit done or not. You cannot be unsure of who you give an audit report to. There are specific procedures for government offices and for GAC. When the audit is done, whoever's supposed to sign it, who's supposed to review it, what meetings they had, they are clear cut. I just feel she's very inexperienced, is my opinion, to deal with the IMF and to be the head of the IMF. That's all.
Yeah.
The thing about it, the first thing is the interviewers themselves, after that, they were to a certain extent limited. Because if you ask this lady, what did you do with the money? And she comes and say, oh, we did report, we paid developers for, it always should be a follow-up question. And do not allow your interviewee to slip away if you do not get your answer. Why ask the question when you haven't got the answer and ask another question? I listened to her and I'm like, seriously? At one point she said, oh, we pay for hotel bills and people come in and we put them in, COVID patient. And then when she was asked, she said the Chinese hotel around the football field. Can you imagine?
Exactly, I heard that.
Chinese hotels around football field.
Yeah.
I tried when I listened to that, when I heard that, I was like, how many Chinese hotels do we have in Liberia? Where are the Chinese hotels around which football field? We have only two major football fields. SKD, okay, that only one there. She said Chinese hotels around the football fields. And then we have ATS. Do we have another? And they should have asked her, do you have the names of these patients? How long did they stay in the hotel?
What they should have asked her.
And then also, I remember a couple of months back, the government came up with this policy where they said when you come into the country and you're COVID positive, you will be responsible for your bill. If I'm wrong, somebody tell me.
No. There wasn't. They were discussing it. What I wanted to say was that Dr. Jala did not mention that at one point there were people going to her place in Marshall. So was that one of the bills that were paid for? She mentioned that part.
So let me say that, I listen, And that's the limitation I see with the interviewers on Spoon TV. They don't do follow up. For me, if I'm doing an interview, if you don't give me the answer that answer the question completely, if we discuss one topic, we'll stay on that one topic. You cannot be jumping because everybody has to talk, or everybody has to ask questions. And then Ben asked her, and she said, Ben, leave that topic. Come on,
Wow.
you're the
They're all
Minister of
professional.
Health.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yes, you had a minister. First of all,
Yeah.
she came dressed to the interview inappropriate. Who
Yes.
comes on an interview dressed with a hat and t-shirt?
Right.
Who
So
does
you
that?
already from the get-go,
Who does that?
if I'm a minister and I know I'm going to sit
And
there,
you know,
I know
they show
accountability.
carriers sometimes. Yeah, and you know, sometimes they show carriers 30,000+ viewers. And then
Yes,
you come with a hat,
yes.
with t-shirt, and then you can't even sit in the chair. Go at one
They
point
can't
you
even
touch
speak
yourself,
English
the next thing-
properly.
And
Oh,
then
yeah,
you no,
Honestly,
that is
you
personal.
representing
That
the
is
whole
personal.
country.
And then you're using your phone, your primary phone for an interview where you know there will be interruption. People will be calling in, you know? So the whole thing for me, the both sides, the interviewers were not prepared or they were limited or something. And then the interviewee herself came prepared.
Right.
And because if I was on that panel, Dr. Jara would have answered the questions before making
Right.
another.
She slipped
before
away.
answering-
She
answering
slipped away.
another one. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
she
you
got
can't
away.
blame her.
They were
You can't blame
also
her.
Got away.
Never allow your interviewee to take over your show or to become the giant on your show. I did journalism for about 6 years, and I know what I'm talking about.
Mm. Well,
And
she
then
came unprepared. She
asking-
didn't come to do
kept
anything.
trying to
She
claim
just came
Yeah,
to
well,
power
eat
and
up.
in the defense of the guys that were interviewing her, again, they didn't have the report. They didn't have the actual report that she gave to the president and the Minister of Finance. They didn't have the audit report because at one point she stated as if the audit report was completed, but then she corrected herself that it wasn't completed. that
Right.
it was improper. Yeah.
Salamartu,
Right.
So,
Salamartu,
Inconsistency.
yeah,
Salamartu, I don't need to have a report to ask you. You said you give an incentive. Can you quantify this incentive? Can you tell
Right,
us how
'cause you
many
didn't
people
have-
I told you,
receive
you
it?
want to see the team
I don't have
for
to.
Liberia? She doesn't know.
Another
Yeah,
thing,
yeah.
another thing,
So she,
another
But
thing she
ladies,
said,
ladies.
another
So
thing
what
she
was
said,
it?
we
She got
pay
it.
developers for what? And how many developers?
no
You know, these
information.
are
Nobody had
questions. What
information.
No,
That
but
interview was
ladies,
a waste
that's
of
where
time.
the experience comes from.
And-
That's
and
the
not-
It was a waste of
unprofessionalism.
time.
When you are
Waste
when
of
you are not-
time.
when you-
Waste
when
of
you are
3
not-
hours.
Okay, so let me just quickly say this, right? In regards to her Spoon interview and the interviewers, I noticed, and not just with her interview, but all of the interviews, they give their guests the opportunity to answer or not answer. If they ask you a question that you do not want to answer, you have the right to say, I'm not answering that question. So they ask the questions that anyway, I think we shouldn't even be spending time on how Spoon interviewed her or didn't
Charlene,
interview
Right,
her.
we should be
Charlene,
focused on her
Charlene,
and what
That
she didn't do.
yeah,
She
that's
dropped
a
the ball.
My issue
difference.
is not with my issue.
That's a
is not with the
difference between-
interviewers.
that's
They
a
were
difference.
just-
It's with the
The
inconsistency.
interviewers were just
Yeah.
trying to get, answers
That's up
from
from
what
her.
they understand from the whole
Right.
process. My
Right.
interview is with someone who is clothed with the authority to head a whole country.
Help.
Health team.
Gladys,
Who is not,
sometimes
she's
you go.
not even supposed to be heading that team. That's the first place. Why is nobody not
Sometimes-
talking about it? That's one is annoying.
They
She's
mentioned
not
that.
supposed to be
They
heading
mentioned
it.
that, and she.
Her
would be very worried.
is with medical health. This
Well,
is
y'all know
why
what?
they
Sometimes
created
you
the
go, you
infill
have
in
a conversation,
2016.
right?
The infill
You-
has all the authorities to do what she is trying to do, and that's why she cannot answer the question.
Glade. Dr. Brown clarified that. He said there's no mandate that puts infill in charge. It's just that during the COVID, during Ebola, infill was in charge. And I think when this epidemic started, the head of infill was in charge. And I think they let him go. So
You do not need mandate. You
Yeah.
don't.
No,
that is supposed to
but
deal
what
with
he was trying to
epidemics
say, Dr. Brown said
and
that
contagious
there's nothing
diseases.
on record that says that the head of the IMS must be from infill.
Except
Yeah.
common sense is also not on record. I'm sorry. Except common sense is
No,
not
I
also
agree
on
with you. I
record.
don't think she should be
It's
heading
all
it.
around. any kind of contagious diseases, for the proven fact that you have gone through the legislative process to have a public health institute that's supposed to deal with contagious and communicable diseases, epidemics and pandemic, and you take all those professionals that are in that place to put them second to someone
Who doesn't
has
even
been
know anything.
who has worked in the hospital and have only dealt with gynecological problems. Something is wrong somewhere. It does not make any sense.
Yes,
and that's why she cannot answer the question. She's inadequate for that particular role.
No, I agree.
And a lot of people were watching it. People were waiting for this woman to come on, and she came on and said absolutely
we're not talking about it. She cannot do it. She's
you
not
know,
supposed to be there.
It's not right, and it's very serious.
It's
Serious.
serious.
People are dying.
You can't even talk about money business. You don't even have any idea how to explain to the public about money business. I even remember the last time she was on the radio and giving the talks about COVID, when she talked about the market people, and she said something like, or even the market people, if you can't distance there, at least you should try to distance. How will you be the minister of health and you're not even sure of what communication you send it to the public? Because it is not your area. People that deal with public health are the ones that have studied and have practiced giving information to the public. She's not supposed to be there.
That's why there's a difference between being a bedside doctor and someone who specializes in public health.
They should be thinking about how to take up with it. And then she's telling the people the rates are going down. When the rates go down, it does not mean the problem is finished. Contagious diseases have a lot of up and down. Right now, Liberia, maybe because everybody is staying away, because laws are in place, so the rates are going down. It does not mean the problems are solved. Anybody who has studied epidemiology will understand and will know that it's all just for play right now. She needs to step aside, let the right people come in
and let the people do it, because we're not playing games.
If you do not have financial knowledge, find somebody who has financial knowledge.
Let you
explain the financial part of the whole money business that you are collecting and how you are using it. For the fact
so this goes back.
That's why she's answering like that.
This goes back to my initial statement that the minister went to the interview unprepared. Because the most important thing in this whole fight against COVID, we all speak about coming into the country and paying their money, right? So the topic of discussion will always be, what are you doing with this money? If you come to an interview and you know that's the topic, not even on TV, but in just us sitting at the dining room table, that's what we're going to talk about. You know that conversation or that question will come up. So why not prepare yourself? And if you are incapable,
stand on and say,
bring your bullets.
Plead the fifth.
Oh, she did?
Wow.
No, but if you're incapable of responding,
she actually said that she is not in court, and therefore she pleads the fifth. And that's what I keep saying. I don't blame the people who are doing the interview.
Wow. No, we ain't talking about Stephen here. We're talking about her.
Yeah, let me tell you personally, I feel that the Minister of Health she has been very insensitive to the Liberian people. Claudia has said, she's not very competent in this field. Claudia is a health and safety expert. So if she's saying
I'm also a nurse and an epidemiologist.
I believe you. From what we've seen, I tend to agree with you. But I think one of the things that really gets me is the fact that she has been very insensitive. Her loyalty is not to the Liberian people. Her loyalty is to the president of Liberia. And because her loyalty is not to the Liberian people, she hasn't done right with the Liberian people.
Yeah, but
he didn't talk about her practice, who was also set up to accept COVID patient and more than likely got paid for it. She didn't talk about the fact that the vaccines were actually given out of her clinic when she stated that there was no more vaccine in the country. I sat on a call just 2 days before they started giving out the almost expired vaccine, and we asked the question, and we were told that there were no vaccines in the country, only to find out that, they're giving out the vaccine because these ones are almost gonna expire. She hasn't been honest with the Liberian people. She's been very arrogant in communicating with the Liberian people. You have the experts around you. You got the financial people. There are a lot of, the IMF is not just government. The IMF consists of international partners. that WHO,
Exactly.
that USAID. There's so
Right.
many experts that sit around that table. So even if she doesn't know everything that's happening, she needs to utilize those people. But personally, I think Dr. Jala is just there to count the
I
money.
think she's very
Agenda
incompetent
money.
and
And that
unprofessional.
means-
That's all. There's
that
no
means-
other way to
that
put
means-
it.
Let me
We should
close
start
on this.
bluffing around with the
Let me
words
just
we use.
Yeah.
let me close on this for this topic, just for my side.
But when yeah, what
another- I said-
other
I
way
said for
you
my
get close
side.
No
down
Sugar
public?
sugarcoating. When people
I
are
said for
dying,
my
there's
side.
no
Yeah, we can be
sugarcoating.
sugarcoating things where people are
No,
I
and
losing
people,
their
said-
lives.
their lives involved here.
People
Are you
losing their
You
lives.
can
You
get a
think
chance?
sugarcoat it?
Go.
You don't go to other countries
Listen.
and you hear the health minister sugarcoating.
Let her say what she has to say, and if you have a problem with it, then dispute it.
I'm
I'm here in Birmingham, and 8 a.m. every morning, they have the public health head on Radio Birmingham every morning, 8 a.m., talking about the COVID status. So whether you want to know about it or not, there's something you will get from there. It's a
Right.
serious talk for that 15 minutes.
Clearly, I was
And you
on the
go on a
phone.
place and you talk, you speaking Kolopa first thing, and you're asking the people not to ask you certain questions.
But
And you're
you're not
supposed to be the head of a whole country's health team. What kind of sense does that make?
That's
You're not
scary.
professional. You're not effective. You just don't know how to do the job. You should be told for and find somebody else who is competent enough to do it and who can communicate with the public properly.
Another issue, another thing I have
Yeah,
with
man.
her or the government since the Johnson & Johnson came, and I know I have read in so many articles the side effects of this Johnson & Johnson. I can't remember, or I haven't heard the government educating its citizens, and I'm saying the government, the health ministry or whatever, those involved, the authorities involved, educating their citizen on, what they need to do before you take the Johnson & Johnson, what are the side effects. There's no awareness. So since today makes it 1 week since the vaccine came.
Really?
They started administering.
The first thing the country
That
will
they
have
started administering it.
AstraZeneca.
No,
The
not yet.
Are they
Johnson &
informing
Johnson
the
is a
people
one
of the
dose.
side effects?
No.
We
Have
have
they
the
started
AstraZeneca. Some
administering the
people
vaccine?
needed to get their second dose. It has not yet been verified whether you can mix the Johnson & Johnson with the AstraZeneca. The whole
No.
government decided to
You
go
can
and
mix it.
request for a completely different drug, considering that there were people
Exactly.
that have taken the first dose and they will need to complete the treatment. Why do we do things that we're coming from another planet? I don't understand.
So are you saying that, Lavetta, there are no sanitizations going on right now about this vaccine?
No.
Are
No,
you
I'm
there's-
saying I haven't heard. I'm not saying there's no,
Yeah.
I'm saying
So
I
you,
haven't heard.
you
And Claudine, I think the reason why they brought in the Johnson & Johnson, because they're hoping that since it's one dose, people will go and take it and they don't have to run behind them for the second dose. But my point,
Yeah,
if you
but there are
read
side
about this
effects.
Johnson,
Loretta,
yeah, if you
Loretta,
read about this
Loretta.
Johnson & Johnson, you know that it has side effects. There are a lot of people who haven't had the second dose of the first vaccine. So what happens to them? So
and those
whole
people are unprotected anyway. So the first
whole
vaccine dose does
information
not even mean
dissemination-
Doesn't
anything.
mean
Yeah,
anything
That
to
is if
them.
it is supposed to help. Now
Yes,
the thing
but I
is that this
know-
is why when you have a public health professional at the head of a vaccine,
They're supposed to
immunization
be out there
campaign,
talking about it.
they will be able to explain to the
Mhm.
public that when you take vaccine, because of let me find easy word, allergic reactions and different things, there should be a setup. People need to know whether they should eat. People need to know whether they need to be considering any kind of underlying disease before they line up for the vaccine. You need to have people, medical experts, paramedics set aside to monitor the people for at least 30 to 45 minutes before you
when they
can
take it.
allow them to leave the
Yes.
vaccination center.
Yep.
You don't give somebody a vaccine and just get
just
them
tell them
going,
to go.
because it takes
No.
between 15 minutes to 45 minutes for the
Yeah.
vaccine to hit all parts of your, most parts of your bloodstream, to make sure that, whether you are going to react to it or not. You don't
Mhm.
have professional, people, paramedics or stuff lined up at the vaccination center. So if somebody falls into a heart attack or cardiac arrest or whatever it is, you cannot do nothing about it because they are not educated in the first place, and you do not have, the provisions made for you to revive such situations. They're not doing
let me
it.
I
say
see
this, the
Stanton,
minister
Stanton.
says that they have a plan in place. They haven't done any sensitization yet. They
Okay.
haven't given out the vaccines yet. The AstraZeneca should be in this week. This information I got from not GOL, from one of the other IMS partners that the AstraZeneca should be in. And this is
Okay.
why we're going to have Dr. Nicole Cooper next week, just kind of talking about the vaccines. So hopefully we can get some clarification. So we'll have Dr. Cooper and we're gonna have Flade. We should know everything there is to know about this vaccine,
About
that
those
all of
vaccines.
us will go and take the vaccine. Those of us who have not taken our vaccine.
Right, because you're still not, just because you took the first one, that doesn't mean that you're protected. You mean you took
Even
the
if you
second
take
one,
the
it takes
second
2
one,
to 3
it
weeks.
takes you about
2
8
to
to
3
11
weeks.
weeks to build your immunity.
8 to
So
11. Okay, there you go.
So
So,
yeah, so next week, I think it should be exciting for us to really, I was trying to read some of the comments here, but
Let's
I
go to
think
the
guys
next
are
topic.
also, look, Lavetta,
Why
I'm
you
gonna
sleep
we
there?
move.
yeah,
We move.
yeah, I know she moving,
And let's move.
Okay,
She got something going on
so,
there.
huh?
The better does.
Now the religious tolerance and holidays in Liberia. This was one of the topics I said I will let you talk about it. I know recently
Mhm.
there's been a lot of
Why
talk.
you got, why
It's
you
not
got
even
topic you
recently.
want to talk about?
Huh? No. Yeah, I like to read more about the topic, so I'm able to quote people, and I didn't have the opportunity to read a lot about it. What I know about this is not the first time this has come up, that the Muslims in Liberia are requesting that they want a holiday, they want a national holiday as well. And I know recently Representative Snow, he's representative or senator now, senator,
Senator,
yeah, Jesus. So Senator Edwin Snow Abomi, he said he was going to put a bill on the floor that will introduce, I think like that 4 new bills, right? And I know 2 other holidays. He talked about Easter Monday, and then he talked about Muslim national holiday. And every time I hear, oh, the Muslim people want holiday, for me, I always say, but winner. And the Muslim people are Liberians too. And we have a large Muslim population in Liberia. Why shouldn't they request a holiday? And what is our fear of having a national Muslim holiday? But there was also a comment made by a top level person within the Muslim community, sort of a threat. Charlene?
Yeah,
Yeah, let her talk.
let me
Yeah.
find it. Let me find it so I can tell you exactly what it was that he said. But for me, in regards to this, it's a conversation that's been had over and over again, right? That there should be a Muslim holiday, a national Islamic holiday, because naturally, of course, with the Abraham Day, and then also with the end of Ramadan, those are holidays that are celebrated by our Islamic brothers and sisters, right? But it's not a national holiday where the president declares it a holiday. So it's just been a conversation that the Muslim community has been asking, that we should have a holiday because we're Liberians too. A lot of us here grew up in America and we celebrate Jewish holidays. So those are holidays that our kids they don't go to school. They're not, and it wasn't a holiday that has always been an American holiday, but it is a holiday that's internationally, or well, nationally celebrated and recognized. But y'all go ahead and speak. Let me find this comment that was made by the imam.
Yeah, and I guess my question is always, what is the fear for us? Or what do you think the fear is that we don't want a Muslim holiday, a national?
Let me say this, and not in regards to fear, but for me, I really like for people to have freedom of worship, freedom of religion, freedom of whatever you want to do. Now, religious holidays, the way we discuss it here, I think is the least of our concern. We have so many things happening here, and I don't think religion or religious holiday should be a big problem for us. The Bible says, Joshua.
Yeah, but yeah,
We-
Loretta,
we-
no, wait. You're
Mhm.
saying you don't think it should be a big problem, but it is a problem. It's a problem.
Yeah, but let
If
me
it
finish.
wasn't
I
a big
was-
problem, yeah, we won't be, people won't be, the imam, or who was it that made this threaten state?
Charlene, can you, Charlene,
No,
can you-
listen,
Imam Friday.
It's
listen.
a major problem.
It's not a problem. It is not. I don't think.
Maybe
it's a
for
problem.
you it's not.
It's
Can
not
I
a problem
say
for
something
you
now? Can
because
you allow
you're
me to
Christian.
land?
Okay,
Can
go
you
ahead.
allow me to land?
You land, yeah.
She's still like
Na ela biro.
Now,
Serious?
the cake on the real
You land,
plane.
yeah. What?
So,
Let me land.
how many times you've had people on the street protesting on this Christian fighting Muslim? I don't think it's a. Now listen, when the imam came out and said that, what happened? The other Islamic leaders came and condemned what he said. If you follow up, they condemned what you said. I believe what the Bible says. We should not judge. If we always say, oh, Liberia was founded on Christian principle. What are we doing? What are we doing as Christian to win
We don't
souls
even have
over?
Bible in the curriculum.
What are we doing? What are we doing if this nation was founded on Christian principle? Why are we discussing corruption every day? Why are we discussing things way beyond just Muslims having holidays? I absolutely have no problem if there are other nations that, like Charlie said, there are other holidays that are celebrated in America. Sarah, right next door, they have Muslim holidays. Ghana has Muslim holiday. Has it done anything economically to their country? No. The Bible says in, I think, the book of Romans, chapter 14, verse 1 or 4, something like that.
Yeah.
It says, if one person says that he doesn't want to eat this, he only wants to eat vegetable, and you say you only want to eat maybe chicken, do not judge the person because he's abstaining from chicken and you want him to eat this. You know, do not judge because we don't even know. We as Christians, we proclaim to be Christians. We don't even know if we are doing the right thing before we're ready to judge. So if these people decide that they want holiday, it's just about vote. It's not going, if they get the vote and to declare holiday, that's not going to stop Christians from worshiping the way they worship. That's not going to stop or going to in any way stop the country from being quote unquote on Christian principle. There are a lot of things that we are doing that does not, that those things do not tell us that we are a Christian nation.
Okay.
And the Bible talks about being lukewarm. You are hot or cold. And for you to be lukewarm, if you lukewarm, I will spit you out of my mouth. And I think Liberia is lukewarm.
Okay. I understand your position on why we should have a Muslim holiday. That's the point.
No, I'm not saying we should have.
Oh.
I'm saying I don't see it as a problem whether we have it or we don't have it. I'm not saying we should have.
But that's why we're having this conversation. That's why what is he called? The imam?
Wait, let me read for you the statement from the imam. Okay. So
is that an imam?
Is that an imam? Okay.
Yes, he gave the sermon at the Abraham Day ceremony. I'm just going to give you the part that really stood out for me. It says, if this nation continues to sow discord and discrimination, it will reap discrimination. By next year, Ramadan, there will be freedom for everybody or freedom for nobody. So that is where it gets tricky. For me, if we decide as a nation to give the Muslims an Islamic holiday, I don't see the issue. And I don't think that we should look at it and say it's not an important thing. It's not important to us, or it's not important to, certain people because they're Christians or they're of a different religion. They're not Muslims. But because the Muslims want to, because number one, the Muslims already feel as if they're not accepted in society, because every Madingo, Fula, by the time they open their mouth, they say, go back to Guinea. So there's so many ways that they're trying, they're trying to make sure that they are also accepted in society. It's a tricky subject.
Yeah.
And it's something that needs to be said about us again as a society. Why is it that we're so afraid of these people being a part of our society? And if we look at it, we look and we see the Islamic community growing more and more in Liberia every day. So at a certain point, we have to acknowledge the fact that they're there. We have to acknowledge the fact that they're in Liberia, they're there to stay. And if we look at the history, they were in Liberia before we, the Congo people came.
Will you come again?
No, but and that's my, and I guess that's what, when we say it's a problem, because we're looking at it and saying, you know what, it really shouldn't be a big deal if the Muslim want holiday. It shouldn't take anything away from us. But there are so many people who are saying no, they should not have a holiday. If we were okay with it, they would have had a holiday by now. I remember about 5 years ago, there was a guy here who actually did a study in Liberia. He did some kind of a survey, and there were more Muslim in Liberia than Christian. And when he presented the survey, somebody like, no, that's not true. And this guy's like, no, I actually went around the country and we did a survey, and there are more Muslims in Liberia than there are Christian. And if we continue to sit back when people are requesting something, as Charlene said, they feel marginalized in a country where they feel like this is their home, but they've been discriminated against, or they've been marginalized, they're going to revolt. We will continue to sit back and say, oh, you know, it's not a problem. It's not a problem. You know, yeah, everything fine. They want to let it get it, but they haven't gotten it yet. And they've been here for years. They've been here for decades. They haven't gotten it yet. And this is not the first time I've heard Muslims requesting that they want a national holiday. This is not the first time. It's just the first time I've heard them say, you know, kind of make some kind of a threatening statement, some kind of way. But again, what is this fear that's holding us back from saying, you know what, you'll put the bill on the floor, let's vote on the bill, and let's give the people the holiday. There has to be something that we are afraid of. What is it that
Is there a bill? Is there a bill?
They have not done that yet. And the thing is that they have to do, I don't know how the political process works, but I think they need to do their petition, and then, you know, after the petition, they can, you know, try to get up a bill, and then it can go on the floor for discussion. I mean, they know you want a holiday, so you should follow the political process. You know, the holidays are either politically done or they are done through executive order, I think. So they can, you know, sort that out. I know for a year, you know, they are not like specific holidays for everyone. But if you're Muslim, you know, you have that holiday off. So if you want to go and celebrate, it's not counted against you from work or from school, because they consider it your own holiday.
Yeah.
And people are comfortable with it.
Now,
I think
there's
the
a
problem.
question. So what happens when other religion groupings make similar requests? So is that maybe one of the fear? People feel like you might have other different groups saying, you know what, we want a holiday too.
Yeah, but we cannot have that fear, because if you look at the religious percentages in like the distribution of, you know, religious affiliation in Liberia, the first two is Christian and Muslim. You know, the other religions do not have that. Even with the Muslim population, I think it is 15 or under 20%, 15 to 20%. That's how much, you know, they have. So, you know, I think the best way to go forward is to try to get a bill on the ground and see if they can get it to pass. If that is not passed, you know, we can probably, you know, do individually as they do here. where you can set aside those specific
Oh,
holidays
man.
that you need for your religious, your religious celebrations, and go through with it without harm to anyone. But again, with Liberia, we got too many
Amma is
irrelevant
asking.
holidays that we can actually tolerate, Muslim holidays, and cash out some of the holidays in neighboring countries. Ghana, Sierra Leone, Guinea, Nigeria, they celebrate Easter from Friday to Monday. They celebrate the Eid, and they celebrate the Abraham Day. Well, I think one of them are also 3 days holidays. They celebrate it. But yeah, we got some very irrelevant holidays that we can actually get rid of and tolerate, the religious holiday for the group of people that makes up, a little bit
Okay,
more
so
of our, yeah.
Senator Snow is saying he sponsored the bill and it's on the floor. It's currently in committee room. So maybe we need to get the details of the bill he has sent to, that has been sent to committee room. We need to get details and then we can discuss it better, because maybe he's only asking for something else, or even if he's asking for holiday, how he came up with this, or these are questions that we would like answer for,
The
if you
I
just
have
say-
a question. I have a guest that has a question, so I'm gonna try to, we taking calls now, so I'm gonna try.
So
You can
who's
go
the
ahead.
guest?
Okay.
Amma Harris.
Oh, we knew it was.
Go ahead, yeah.
TM.
So how did you do? Can you all hear me?
Can you hear her?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. So my question to the panel, and my question and some of the things we have to think about is, yes, you might have religious groupings from time to time agitating for more rights, but what basis are we using to decide that, yes, Muslims can or should be entitled to a holiday? Is it based on the number of Muslims per country? Because you see, in any country or within any boundary, from time to time, your demographics might shift. Right now, you might say, so what are we using as a decision? Is it that we have enough Muslims that require a holiday? Or is it that, what are you using? What are your metrics? What is the basis of this decision of awarding? Because you have to realize that there are several other religions, and if I'm correct, I think our traditional religious groupings are much higher than even the Christians and the Muslims. I stand to be corrected, but I think if you check the distribution of religions in Liberia, the traditional groupings should have a higher percentage of people who affiliate with those worship, and even Christians and Muslims. Now, so they too have festivals. They too have days that they might like to observe. So when you're discussing those kind of things, you have to be very careful, because whatever president you set, it should be something that is fair to all. And that's just my view on the issue of the Muslim holiday.
All right. Thanks.
And great job, guys. See you all in the chat room. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Oh,
Okay. That was a good
Yeah, who
point.
got chat room?
I know,
Yes,
right?
but
What kind of
I
chat
also
room you're in?
I see Senator Snow on here. He said he did sponsor a bill on the floor of the Senate and is currently in the committee
Well,
room.
your internet
Could he
went
call
offline,
in and
ready?
tell us? Could he call in?
Wait, before we let's answer Amma.
What
Let me
answer on my
Amma.
question? Yeah, you're
Yeah,
supposed
answer her.
to.
Yeah, love better say we should
Y'all know,
answer
y'all know we
questions.
new to this
Charlie
here
knows
now.
much about it, her answer.
Charlie know nothing about it.
Potato.
But
No,
But
go
wait, can I
ahead.
speak real quick?
Yeah.
In regards to Amma's question about demographics changing, if the demographics change, then we address it when that time comes. But what is now on the floor is the Islamic holiday. They are asking for a holiday, a recognized holiday in Liberia. So if 2, 3 years, 10 years, 20 years from now, we have a big Buddhist population and they decide they want a Buddhist holiday, then we address that situation at that time. But because we're afraid that if we set the precedent today that the Muslims want a holiday, then the Buddhists will come and want a holiday. Then the next 10 years, then the atheists will say, we want none of the religious holidays. How do we live like that? We acknowledge what is at hand.
I think you did answer on my question in the sense that what is the benchmark that we're using to determine who gets a holiday or not? And apparently it's based on population. We have a very
It's
high
based on
population.
population. Yeah.
So
That's how people.
Yeah, but the population is
Definitely,
around
yeah,
15% from the last time they did a census. So
When was that last time? When was that last time?
They're gonna do it every
2010, I
10 they do
think.
every
There's
10
a new
years.
one for 2020,
no,
but
they
I've not
did
seen
do
it
one
yet.
recently. I don't
Oh, really?
haven't seen it, but one was done quite recently. It should have been out last
Look.
month or this month.
Okay.
Look, ladies, when the time is right, we all saw the Black Lives Matter movement. The Black were in a minority for a long time in America. They tried to put in a lot of things. It did not happen, but when the time was right, it happened. So no matter what we do in Liberia, when it's time for the Muslims to have holiday, we have
No.
to send the population
It's a continuous process, my dear. It does not.
Black Lives
it's a
Matter
continuous-
did not happen overnight. The black
No, it
people
didn't.
That's what I'm saying. But you know how long
Yeah,
the
no, but
Muslims
you
have
don't
been
want
But
to-
we're
pushing for
still
this
fighting.
holiday?
you don't want it to get
You
to
know
that
how long
point
the
where
Muslims
people are
have been-
getting killed and there's a war.
No, I'm
there's
not talking about getting
relations
killed.
war.
No. No,
So
don't get
then
me
we say,
wrong.
oh,
I'm not
yeah,
talking about
address
getting
it.
I'm just talking about, no, I'm talking about the timing. When the time, look, it just as Charlene said, the population, when we see that no matter what, the Muslim population growing. The Muslim population growing, every school, every corner you turn, you have Muslims. And they are part of our system. They are in government, they are in the social sector, they are in education sector, everywhere.
But this
So,
is the time.
When
This is the right time.
I'm not, when I'm talking about the Black Lives Matter movement or the blacks, okay, let me leave the Black Lives
Yeah,
Matter
please
thing.
do that one.
Yeah,
But
leave
when
that
it-
one.
when-
Yeah,
yeah,
they've been killing
when
for a
it,
long time.
when it was time, when it
Even
was time
today,
for Black
even
people.
today, the Black Lives Matter is still a
When it was-
movement. It's
It's
still
still a
has not been-
movement.
Yeah, okay.
Exactly.
It hasn't
Exactly.
been solved. There's still
Listen.
Black men
Oh,
being
Lord.
killed on the street.
No, okay, maybe not a black, but when it was
I think
time for
you know
Black
All right,
that
take it
people
back,
to
take it
start-
back.
I take it back. Okay, not the Black
Yeah,
Lives
we take
Matter.
it back.
Not the Black Lives Matter.
It's
So when it
important
was
for them to
time-
have their day in
when-
court. You know, if they
when
feel
it was
if
time
they
for
feel, yeah.
people, for the Black people to start getting in different places, taking lead and whatnot, that time happened. It was a long journey, but it happened. Same thing, we've had ministers there, Muslims as minister, Muslim right now as what, Chief Justice, right? Chief
Yeah,
Justice.
So,
Yeah.
We've had them, not Chief Justice, but on the Supreme Court bench. We have people on the Supreme Court bench who are Muslim. What her name?
I think yeah. I think it's
Go ahead,
prudent that they
Yeah.
go through the
So
process of obtaining a
eventually it will
holiday,
happen,
no
but it's
matter
just a
what the
matter of time.
demographic
I
is.
absolutely
No, but
have
And they
no
should keep
problem.
and they should
Yeah,
keep
I
pushing
disagree.
it.
I don't
Don't
think
shut up.
the
Don't shut up
comparison should
about
be
it.
made
It's a
because
movement.
this
It's a
Yeah.
continuous process.
Not
There-
the
there's
Black Lives
never-
Movement. I just
Oh,
like
I'm
to
talking
say
about the
that
Yeah.
movement.
Black people been advocating for their right for a long time in America. It's just a slip
No,
of
but
tongue.
not
I
what
said
we're
the
talking
Black
about.
Yeah,
Lives
but now
Matter.
they have started advocating. They have started
Mhm.
advocating and they have been
Yes.
doing it for a long time. So I
Yes.
think the
100
best way
years.
forward is, as you said,
Keep
Senator Snow
advocating.
said there was something placed on the floor. So
Yes.
let them
Yes.
go
Yeah.
through that process.
Yes.
And if it comes out successful, that's fine. If it does not come out successful, that's fine. They will, figure out a way to handle it again.
Yes. But
But
they
I
should
don't
keep
think we should
fighting
be in
for
a
it.
place where we are adamant and we are, saying no, that they
Yes.
don't deserve it, because they are a part of the population and they are a productive part of the
That's
population.
correct.
So we
That's
should
very
be
correct.
tolerant enough, and open enough
Yeah.
to see how it goes.
Yeah.
If you have, Muslim kids in your school, you can't say they should come to school on Abraham Day because it is not
No.
a recognized holiday. That's where tolerance
true.
is. So let
Yes.
them go through the process, the legislative process, whatever becomes of it. We all can sit and accept it. I don't think there will be any harm staying home for one day if it becomes a national Liberian lecture anyway. So
Mario, we got plenty of useless,
then when
nonsensical holidays.
it reaches to that
One of my
point,
holidays in Liberia, I
when it
used
reaches to
yeah.
that point where they have approved for them to have a holiday, I'm sure if we have the energetic people in the house, they will also suggest that we have some holidays that are irrelevant. Since we are adding on a holiday, we need to cancel another holiday.
Right.
It can all
Right.
be done in one process.
Yeah.
So that's
Okay.
simple
That
because there
sounds
has to be
simple.
rationalization for what goes on.
But I think the first step, which is good, is that a bill has been proposed. So
That's
Yeah.
right.
we'll
That's how
wait,
you start the
see,
process.
yeah, what
Mhm.
happens,
Yep.
and then take it from there.
And then you
So
have
on
the
a
folks out
lighter
there
note,
advocating.
when we talk about hot topics on the show, it's not just some of the hot topics that are making news in the newspaper, but it's also maybe what's trending on somebody's post or within various chat groups. And there was an article that was shared that opened up a conversation about straight women being less satisfied with the sex than men, meaning that a lot of the women, the straight women, are not having orgasm. So our auntie, our mom, and we get into the part where this is 21 and over. Yeah. So you want to hear about orgasm, a big year, you'll take your leave, you'll thank you for joining us, and you can go. Yeah. But yeah. So yeah, there was an article, and this article was done in 2019, based on a survey that was taken in 2017. And now this survey, again, the survey was done in the US. But we have a large Liberian population there too now. So I'm sure we're inside some kind of way. So the survey looked at the sexual behavior of about 52,000 adults in the US. And 65% of those people were heterosexual women. And they reported that they don't have orgasm. I'm sorry, doing sex. Yeah.
You mean they don't come?
They don't come.
Yeah,
They don't
is
come.
right. So
Now, what
Okay.
was, of course, now the lesbian, bisexual women and the men, 95% of those, everybody's having a good old time, but the women aren't having a good old time. What was amazing to me, I looked at the percentage of the straight men who said they were having, they have orgasm, and then the straight women who are not having orgasm. I'm like, but when now, what happening? So it reminded me of that Kings of Comedy. I don't know if it was Bernie Mac, Cedric the Entertainer, who said, hey, baby, when the men come, sex is over. So you better get yours before I get mine, because when I get mine, it's a wrap. So then, of course, the article posed the question, what can we do? What can you do? What needs to be done to ensure that the straight women are being satisfied at sex? Because apparently the men are having a good time. You having sex with a man, you having a good time. And then they're just leaving some of our sisters, those are sons of Adam. So I thought,
The first thing,
what do you
right?
think is the problem?
I think people don't communicate, when it comes to sex. I think most times the women don't communicate. Women are not the one to initiate sex the most of the times. And they are just following when their partner, starts the initiation process. And during that process, they don't even talk. And it's very seldom that you will find men that are concerned enough to ensure that he gets the woman to be satisfied. So women need to talk.
Yeah.
You need to talk. You need to, explain to your partner what makes you happy, how he can achieve your satisfaction. It has to be a conversation. It's not taboo anymore, because then you sit there and you are craving all the different things probably your friends are talking about, and you can't say anything about it.
Yeah.
I want to say this. You know what? Let me cancel.
Yeah, go ahead, teacher.
Oh yeah, I watch you wear glasses.
Now I wear the glasses.
Speak,
You know
Mom.
what? Yeah, my opinion, I think it has to do with you as an individual. Mind, body, and soul, the balance. We have the everyday stress, the different body chemicals. If you're not in the right mind, sometimes it's just not gonna happen. And that's just how I look at it. So if you're not in the right mind, it won't be pleasurable.
But it depends how it happens for each person. Each person is different.
I'm speaking.
Yeah.
And
So
get
if
this
you are in
now,
the right mind and you are
the
not
men there,
triggered properly,
but get this,
it's
the men who
different.
were part of the survey, they believe In their heart of heart, they believe that they are satisfying the woman.
Yeah, you know,
I mean,
here's
Yeah,
my
so they
thing.
believe that their
yeah,
partner.
but then you lying because you know you ain't getting yours in when.
Okay, so here's my thing, right? First of all, Salamartu, you wrong because we are all speaking from uninformed place. Yes,
Oh,
because we didn't get to read that survey. We don't
Who do you
know.
want for your survey?
Yeah,
no.
she saw a survey
First
by
of all,
herself.
I shared this. This
Not
article
you.
was
She
actually
shared
shared
it.
for us. You,
I
Charlene.
didn't see it.
Yeah,
Yeah, no,
she
you
read
didn't read
it.
it. You saw it.
I didn't. Hey man, we're not
Yeah.
speaking Greek.
You
Okay,
didn't.
so
Yeah,
anyway,
no,
let me
you
finish.
know, you
So,
speak, yeah, you didn't read it.
Okay, so for me, I want to know in this survey who
Mhm.
was actually surveyed. Now, are we speaking of 18-year-olds to 25-year-olds? Are we speaking 25 to 35? Are we speaking 35 to 45? What's the age range for the women who were surveyed? Because it makes a difference.
Yep.
Young women don't quite know what they want sexually. When you get to a certain age, at that point, you know what you want and you know what to ask for. So that's what I'm trying to figure out, who was surveyed in order for us to make a sound, I guess, have a sound opinion about this survey. But as far as I'm concerned, this was a topic I wasn't even going to touch. But I want to, like, maybe I'll take some time and go and read the survey and see what was the demographics in, not the demographics, but who was actually surveyed in this, so I can get a better understanding. Because as far as I'm concerned, an 18-year-old woman is not trying to have an orgasm. She's just trying to have sex.
Charlene, I think, yeah, number one, the article is based on a survey. So what the article did is look, adult women means that they survey women over the age of, people over the age of 18, period, okay? So we're looking at from 18 to like 55. Let's just put it, they're looking at 52,000 adults, right? Within that category. Most of them are saying that, you know what, sex for them, yeah, they're not having an orgasm. Now we do understand if you stop picking one or two, you will get issues out of that. You know, it may be, oh, because I don't know my body, but in general, a large number, a large percentage. Liberia, that's different. That's different.
Yeah,
we have a large percentage of women who not only they talked about some of the reasons when women talk about not feeling, having the intimacy, they're usually speaking about maybe they even having pain during sex. They're not, as Claudia said, they're not really communicating to their partner. So it's a variety of different issues that women are having in general, as compared to men. You know, my mom used to always tell me, she said, men pleasure spot is on the outside. This was just something she said. She said men fall in love with the eyes and women, you know, with the heart, meaning our pleasure point is sort of inside, and the men pleasure point is outside. Society also plays a role in how we talk about sex. Most of the time for women, it's a secrecy thing. We don't want to talk about it. We don't want to say too much about it. Look at this vagina monologue. When we talk about the vagina monologue, how people are just kind of like, oh my God, you say the word vagina. And it's like, are you kidding me? Isn't that the proper term for that thing down there?
Yeah.
We're supposed to say vagina. But women in general, because of society, we don't even talk about it. So if you're having sex with someone, a lot of times, if you're coming from a society where you're not supposed to talk about sex a lot, you don't tell your partner how you feel. If he look like he having fun, you lay there, you and like, and then it also leads to the faking, because if more than 85% of these men are saying that they think their partner is having orgasm, that means that 85% of the women are lying to them too.
So Matu, you because most of the time, okay, men would ask, you know,
I said that's a topic Robina can talk a lot on.
Oh, but yeah,
excuse me. Robina, keep it prepared for you today. Yeah.
They would ask, you know, and this is your moment to say, you know, I either ain't correct right now or, you know, whatever. I mean, they would ask. They would ask.
Yeah,
So,
but I,
you
I,
know,
I just think,
for me.
I think it goes to with the maturity level, but you're saying
Yeah,
adults.
for me, it goes back to the age, because
Right.
at 18 or at 21, it's more like
That it
let me
wham
tell you, I've
bam,
been
thank
listening
you,
to some
ma'am.
trap
Wham
music
bam,
lately,
thank
so
you,
it's
ma'am.
more about
Oh, you go.
it's more about bodies, right? The young children
Yeah.
say bodies, so
Yeah.
they're more like getting bodies or adding up their numbers, right?
It's about quantity and not quality.
It's about quantity for a young
Yes.
person.
Yeah.
a young
But when you
girl,
start getting, not girls, but I mean, just in
Eh.
general, just as a young lady, it's more about having sex. It wasn't so much about having orgasms. But when you got older, or when you get older, you start realizing like there's a hell of a lot more to sex than just this 5 minutes of pleasure. There's a whole lot more pleasure that's there, and you recognize it, and then you start demanding it every single time you have sex. But at the age 18 or 19, who cares? You just want to have sex and be like, yeah, I did it. So you go tell your friends, girl, he was
It's
good
fitting
last night.
in.
Was he
Yeah.
really that
Yeah.
good?
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
What happened?
I don't know, that wasn't that for me.
Glade,
But
are you
I
there?
think,
Maybe you are big
Glade
blue for
Lopera,
talk.
Me, people
Lavera,
just
you
need
all
to
right?
talk. People need to talk. Obviously, yes, some men are really selfish. They will know that, they are not satisfying their partner and they will do nothing about it. But they need to talk.
Yes.
People
I
need
mean,
to
it's true.
talk. Some men are
Especially
selfish.
adults.
Some men, they
Especially if you're
know
an
very
adult.
well that it's
But
not happening.
again,
Some
anyway,
men just don't know.
I don't even think,
And it's just that thing, they have it.
I do believe, maturity, of course, experience, also help. For me, it wasn't so much just getting older. For me, it was really exploring my body.
in what way
Yeah, no,
now?
I'm talking and let me talking. It was honestly exploring my body and knowing what made me happy. So when you meet somebody, then you know how to communicate that to them. And it took me a while to understand that.
Maturity.
So I know there are women who are probably older than I am who don't even want to talk about sex.
But it's a
So,
level
know
of
that
comfort,
G-spot.
Marty. You got to
Yeah.
be comfortable. You
You know,
got
yeah,
to be there.
even
You know?
understanding the G spot. One of
Yes,
the things that
yes.
were pointed in the article was that it takes a long time for women to come versus men. But they also realized when they did the research, when women masturbated, it took the same amount of time that it would take for a man to come. So then it goes back to that same thing. You and your partner are not in sync.
But you please don't
you
call
know.
it thing come, man.
Yeah, that's how we are, man. Okay, we finish with it one here now. Yeah.
Where for the tea, go to the tea
Well,
cup.
yeah, okay, teacher,
Yeah,
what
man.
were I
So
gonna say? What am I say?
Love
Something
it, I
nice,
say
you will
nothing,
find
yo.
it.
And then the other thing that was interesting
Climax. It's
about
called climax. Climax.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
The other thing
Mhm.
that was interesting about this is, the conversation, not so much conversation between you and your partner, but conversation from a young age, from the parents or in school, sex
Definitely.
education. They realize that, most young people are learning about sex from places like porn. And
Oh, yeah.
if you're familiar with porn, the women usually on the porn show, you don't see them climaxing. You usually see the men doing this. So the young people, this is what they see. Am I making sense?
But Matu, I don't think anybody can teach someone to tell them, say, oh, when you get to this age, you're gonna. I think it's
not about teaching you what to do in bed. It's
but even seeing their own porn.
Yeah, but that's the appreciation. You don't know nothing about sex. You go and lay down with a man. What you're seeing is the man, when the man's supposed to climax and go on what you, and somebody do that to you. What you will, and you think that's how it's supposed to be?
Well, until you experience it yourself.
Exactly.
You
So
see
if
what I'm
this
saying?
is your point of reference, this is how you're going to,
Yeah.
we're not
Yeah,
saying
but then that's
everybody,
expensive.
you know, everybody have different experience, but majority of people, this is where they're going. Parents don't, most of the time, parents don't talk to their children about sex. That's also in Tulsa. I remember when
I
sex
talk
I
was
had that
mine.
talk with my children.
Yeah, I
I
do.
talk to my boys.
Yeah, but if we
Yeah.
line up 10 parents, our age, they don't. They do not talk to their children about sex. So
Are you all reading the comments on here? Look, Jeffrey
they're
said
shy.
the appropriate term is orgasm.
My child that I have conversations with about sex just walked in the house.
Orgasm, come, climax.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Yeah, but I think and someone
No, but this
asked
is reality.
who should do the talking. I think the woman, as Salamartu said, you have to know your body. You have to know what
Yes.
makes you happy, what puts you in that
Mhm.
position. So once you have studied yourself and you know that, and you have a partner, you need to tell the person, you know, touch
Yeah.
here, do this, do that. It is your responsibility to
Yeah.
get your own happiness.
Yeah.
So
You
can
want
be
your own, you better talk it the way
But
you want it.
what I keep telling you, what a comedian said, he said you better get yours.
Gotta get yours
Tell
before I
you.
get
I
mine.
get mine.
Exactly. How will you go to a feast and come out without any food?
Yes.
Like, you know, you have to make sure you say, look, hold up right there. Let's take this detour first.
Hey, you
Let me
remember
make sure I
Dr.
grab all the
Dr.
goodies
Ruth?
and everything,
Dr.
and then we
Ruth?
can proceed the other way.
Dr. Ruth, that holiday, they didn't have no shame to her knee. That holiday used to go.
Oh yeah, her. She died in. Okay, well that was a fun topic.
I know.
So our final topic tonight was focused on co-parenting, divorce, separation. After divorce or separation, who decides who gets the kids? We've been seeing a lot of stories trending on social media. I mean, I'm sure most of us have experienced it, where you have a couple, they're either married or they're dating, they have a child or children, and the relationship goes south. And next thing you know, is a custody fight. And you have parents who you may have, usually is the mother who will say, you know, okay, the pa can't see the children, or the pa need to be caught up on his child support before he see the children, or he started dating somebody, so I don't want to see the children. And in some instances, there are guys who would just literally just take the children from the mom and say, you know, I don't like who she's dating, I don't like her lifestyle. So therefore, we're going to keep their children. And this is always a very touchy subject for me. You know, I was a single mom, and you know, I am a firm believer that children need their parents. There's 3 relationships that happens when you have a child with someone. There's the relationship between you and that person. There's a relationship between you and the child, the parent and the child, and there's a relationship between the parent, the child, and the other parent. So it's like that 3 dynamics that's happening. Whether that guy is paying child support or not, he has to see his kids. I think there's only instances where there may be sexual abuse or physical abuse or some kind of emotional abuse, then, you know, then we need to revisit the visitation, or we need to go to court and resolve that. But financially, I'm not a fan of, oh, you know, you ain't paying the child support, so therefore you cannot see your child. You guys want to weigh in?
I think for me, the first thing is, well, most times you can't tell what is going to happen, but I believe that when you've passed the age of 20, you are conscious enough to know yourself and to know who you are having a child with. And it's a very strong decision. In Sierra Leone, the Creole people will say, if you born a child, you born in a child for yourself, which means, you know, you are responsible to take care of your child, whether you have support or not. And if you are in a situation where you have the father of the child around, whether he's in poverty or whether he's, a millionaire. I don't think it should matter. There are a lot of things that gets involved with bringing up children, just having a home, just having some sort of stability
Mhm.
or having someone to talk to. It plays a lot of role in how they become in society. And sadly for Liberia, one thing, the laws of Liberia concerning custody is very, very bad. It's hideous. I had the opportunity of reading the custody law, sometime last year, and I was really furious. Children, after in a case of divorce, the kids are given to the husband, not the wife. The Liberian law somehow is, I don't know, I stand to be corrected, but it implies that if a woman is on the delivery bed and she gives birth to that child, the man has the authority to take that child right away before she even gets off that bed. That's the amount of authority,
Wow.
with what I read. I may be
Yeah.
corrected.
Yeah.
I think it's because the man, most times the man in Liberia is the most financially stable person. So because of that, I think that's why they kind of say the men should be the ones who have custody of the children, because they could provide for the children financially.
Yeah, but providing for the children financially does not equate to to mental stability
To
or to
raising
the
them.
child being nurtured
Yeah,
and raised with love.
yes.
There's a specific reason why men are not the one that carry pregnancy, is women. There's a special set of patience that comes with raising, your kids. There's a special set of communication that the mother will understand. There was a meme going around one time where the baby was like, Papa and Mama and Papa da 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 da, and the mom, is like, oh, he wants milk. You know, there are special skills in a mother understanding the child, and I think with Liberia in the situations that we have come across, the laws have been abused and misused in a way to, separate. But then on the other hand, sometimes out of spite, the women too cause a lot of problems when there is a split.
Yeah.
They are vexed because maybe the man started cheating with this lady who caused them to break also. They don't want him have access to the child, or they feel that he got so much money now and he should give them 75% or whatever money it is because they've got a child by him, or somebody have brought some gossip to them. Well, in my opinion, I don't think any of those things matter. I think it is very important that you allocate time to spend with the child, whether together or separately. It is very important for that child's mental health and their well-being.
Yeah.
Can I throw this? Can I
let
throw
me
this
say
out there
about the
though?
law. Go ahead, and then I will read what I was told about the law in Liberia.
Okay. I just want to throw this out there. Like Claudia just spoke about the 100% upbringing of the child. But my question is, what happens in the case of a divorce or a separation and there's a child support order and the father or the mother, whoever has is a custodial parent? What happens to that if the parent who has been given child support, the parent who has to pay child support, what happens with that parent? Should a parent be allowed to see their child and interact with their child if they are not able to meet their financial obligations?
Yes, I would say yes. I've experienced a similar situation with some friends, and I think I'm still black on Facebook because of my opinion. Um, I don't think that the financial understood that some mothers are really suffering and to provide the daily needs for the child. But in common sense and in just in for sake of humanity, no man who is equally able to afford for his child and is not doing so will request to spend
Yeah.
time with his child. It's uncommon for
Right.
that to happen. If a man is fighting hard to spend time with his child, is because he probably may not have exactly what you asked for. Like in a situation, the lady asked that the guy buy her a V8 car instead of the 6,000 car that he could afford at the time. And because of that, he had not seen his child for over 4 years. She has refused every communication with him because she did not get what she wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah, every effort of support that had come in, she considered it small, so she refused it. So there are different situations, but I don't think that should matter. So in the case of custody, if the person is obligated to pay a certain amount towards the well-being of the child, you obviously would know if they have it or not. And obviously they will not come around knowing fully well that they are not, doing their part of the bargain.
Yeah.
I agree 100%.
Okay, so
You wanna read
I
the
did reach
custody
out
thing?
to a lawyer, Mombero Joa, and I asked her about it. The law that still exists regarding the men getting the children, because growing up, I always heard this, that the men got the children. And she said, basically, only the children's law now, and it's blatantly it says that a child has right to have access to both parents. So now the court looks at the best interest of the children below the age of 7. Above the age of 7, the father takes them, except if you can prove that their well-being will be compromised by being with their father. So if they're above 7,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, hopefully we do have lawmakers that's watching tonight. And not just the lawmakers, the women's group. You have to introduce something to the lawmakers.
Right.
So
and I think because of the laws that we have, foreign people having kids. I know that a couple of years ago there were people that there were foreign, mixed breed kids or kids with Liberian mothers and foreign fathers, where the fathers just came in and just hooped the children out of the country and took them, and the parent, the mom never had any communication with that child again. It's all with that. So I don't think finances should be. They should also be considered, whether the child is going to be happy, whether they're going to be properly taken care of, whether they're going to have the right environment, instead of just looking at money.
At money. Yeah, because
everything in
it
Liberia
end up
is
with the
just
child
money.
being, it's
think
the
there was-
child. You messed up a child just by, people making decisions that affects a kid's life, This is
Right.
a human being.
Okay, so traditionally, in order to have a child, there has to be 2 persons, right? So for me, I think that the upbringing of the child, there needs to be 2 persons. So sometimes it doesn't quite work out that way, but if the opportunity is presented to this child, that child should be given that opportunity by both parents. I don't care what happens. Yeah, you could have some man that's an evil person according to you, and you don't want your child to have anything to do with that person. But at the end of the day, there will still be questions. There will be a lot of things that will come when your child is denied access to mother or father.
That's true.
I've said it 1,000 times.
And the kids remember too.
Yep. I agree with you totally, because
and I've said it before that I would literally sit at the table and break bread with the devil if it benefits my child.
Yeah. And it's so true. It's true. And some of us are actually speaking from experience. They want to, I have adult kids now, but I know, what my situation was, and I try to keep it the way that I did, because in the end, whether we were stubborn or not, it's about the child, and the child becomes an adult with all these, we're messing somebody's life up by the decisions that we make as adults. And it's not.
Trifine just posted, sometimes people can be horrible partners, but great parents.
That's true.
Totally agree.
I love it, Jeffrey. That is so true.
Yeah, my baby dad and I, we're good friends. we are
it
great
is not
friends.
about you or me. It is about the child. It is about the child. Yeah.
And he's a great dad. I mean, look. And I think also for me, it was a thing where I was like, you know what? I need a break too now. Come and take come and take the child.
Come get the baby.
Because I knew my daughters were never ever in any kind of a danger. So, it was never really an issue. As far as financing, I know that, and the older I got, I've also realized that, people go through a different period in their lives, it may not be able to pay that child support 1 or 2 or 3 months, fall behind, things might happen, but they're a great father. They're there for that child. They're communicating with the child, and they're doing other things that's necessary. So while we may not have made it as a couple, stay involved in your children's life. But on that note,
But a lot of people use their kids as pawns.
Exactly.
Oh
They
yeah,
use
there's
the
a
kids
lot of
as
things
pawns to
that are
get the
done.
guy back, and sometimes
A
it's
lot of
just
things that are
worth it.
done.
You can't see it.
Yeah.
No, that's 2 separate
Yeah,
issues.
but that only works for a short time frame.
Yeah.
Because at a certain point, that child is going to grow up. That child will start asking questions. That child is going to go seek answers.
And they will find.
And they will find those answers.
Yeah.
So they will put you to the table to answer it.
You can't be a bitter mother. You can't be a bitter father, or you can if you choose to. But at the end of the day, the tables will turn, and you will become the villain.
Yeah. So on that note, we're running out of time, guys. So, but before we go,
ready for the party?
9 p.m. and I am. Dr. Nicole Cooper will be on. So it'd be great to hear, from her, from Claudia, and let them do their thing with their vaccine.
I got someone who wants to be our first meal guest. I will let y'all know.
Okay. Chat room. So with that said, we have to do a cheers to Claudia. Claudia and I have options of music. You know me, I'm old school. I like Stevie Wonder on the music. Because it's more than a birthday song. It's about Martin Luther King, it's a little bit more powerful. So that's why I like his song. And then I was trying to find Prince Nickel, happy birthday, but no.
But the other, why you use the other birthday song?
Which one? Oh, they
play the Presto birthday song, man.
But I say I couldn't hear it.
Oh, one year. Got a new song for birthdays.
Just
use the name to Gladys.
Drink. I got my drink. I actually have some ginger anana.
Are you mixing it?
Look at that plug. Look at that plug. Some ginger anana.
Yeah, you see it.
Free advertising.
Made in Liberia product.
I think Veda's on here too.
Yeah, made in Liberia, and this is made on the islands. So
what's that? Can we see the other
Malibu and some ginger anana. So yeah.
Is that the water?
Yeah, that's the water. So I'm gonna mix it. So everybody get your drink ready. Let me find the song. This song. I'm enjoying this song. I don't know about y'all. Yo, Valence.
Yeah, other teacher, yes.
Aye.
Irie.
Happy birthday, Daddy.
I love it.
One love.
One love for you, Gladys. One love.
One love is one love.
One love, mama.
One love.
One love.
What happened to Lovera? She's sleeping? Lovera, where's your glass?
Anymore.
Where's he? Oh, God.
One love.
All right, guys. Thank you.
And then
everybody
for joining us tonight.
Have a good week. Have a good week.
Have a great evening, and we'll see you next Sunday at 9 p.m.
Let it go. Good night, ladies.
Night.
Feel all right.
Your birthday, Omo.
Okay.
No, it's not late.
Time for the discussion now.
Good night.
Wear the mask.